Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Manuel. SUNY will soon have a new leader. This after the current chancellor, Jim Malatras, announced his resignation. Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst tells us why he's stepping down now and gets reaction from Corning Community College students and faculty.
That's right. Good evening. And the fallout from the Cuomo administration continues tonight as SUNY Chancellor Jim Malatras announced his resignation last night. This announcement just comes days after the Board of Trustees gave him their full support.
Yeah, we feel like there's justice. He's doing the right thing in resigning.
With pressure mounting from across the SUNY system, Chancellor Jim Malatras announced his resignation. The announcement comes a week after text messages were uncovered showing Malatras degrading a former aide and victim of Governor Andrew Cuomo. The text messages drew widespread condemnation from students and faculty leaders.
As leaders in this community or in SUNY as a whole, there are definitely expectations that we all should live up to.
Jesus Escalante at Corning Community College says Malatras' behavior was unprofessional and says new leadership is needed.
We just need to find a new person to become chancellor, and again, I was to say hopefully that person will follow the morals and the ethics that are put in place.
Corning Community College President Bill Mullaney released a statement thanking Malatras for his leadership in 2020 and offered his assistance in helping SUNY move forward. He stated SUNY deserves nothing but the best leadership and that he's confident they will find a leader SUNY needs. Escalante says all SUNY partners need to come together to keep the system moving forward.
Everybody stay together and let's keep working hard on creating this community.
Malatras will step down on January 14th. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
New tonight, Attorney General Letitia James announcing she is no longer running for governor of New York. James will instead seek re-election at her current position. In a statement, James cited a need to continue working as AG with a number of important investigations getting underway. Letitia James announced her candidacy for New York governor back in October. Tonight, the latest on the COVID Omicron variant and the push to vaccinate everyone in the U.S. Jonathan Seri has more from Atlanta.
If you get the booster, you're really in good shape.
President Biden making a renewed push for vaccine boosters as the Omicron variant spreads quickly. It's now been reported in 57 countries and at least 22 states. But CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says even though the new strain is more contagious, so far virtually all Omicron cases in the U.S. have been mild, though more real-world data are needed to determine its severity.
We are going to be looking for, is it more severe if you've been vaccinated or boosted? The more mutations a variant has, the higher level you need your immunity to be.
The FDA saying further study is not needed before authorizing booster shots for teens 16 and up, signaling the agency has no major safety concerns for that age group. A big part of the push to get shots in arms includes vaccine mandates, but that effort suffered another setback in court. A New York judge putting a hold on the city's mandate for all public workers, including police and firefighters. But the city says more than 90% of those workers have already gotten their shots, and demand for boosters has been skyrocketing since the emergence of Omicron.
I got a booster shot because I teach in a university and I meet a lot of students, and I felt it was just a good idea to have immunity and to be protected.
The Senate also voting to overturn President Biden's vaccine mandate for private businesses, but it's unlikely the measure will be taken up by the House. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
The right to get an abortion could be severely restricted across more than 24 states. But California officials are trying to make the Golden State a sanctuary for women where the procedure could be outlawed. Kevin Cork reports.
The fate of abortion rights in America is facing an uncertain future as the Supreme Court mulls over whether to uphold a Mississippi law banning all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, while also deciding if other states can follow suit with similar bans. The High Court's decision isn't expected until June, but abortion rights advocates in California aren't wasting time preparing for the worst as they look to turn the Golden State into a safe haven for women across the country needing an abortion. At least 25 states are expected to outlaw most abortions if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, and reproductive health experts say women in those areas will turn to clinics in California for help.
California could see a 3,000% increase in patients coming to us.
But traveling across state lines for an abortion isn't exactly cheap, and advocates say those with limited means need assistance. That's why the California Future of Abortion Council is asking local leaders to fund their journeys.
We certainly envision an influx of patients and unique challenges for people that have to come from out of state. So things like practical support, travel, lodging, childcare.
Besides covering the cost of travel and hotel stays, advocates are also asking the government to pay for the abortion procedures. That is, if the out-of-state person would have qualified for a free one if they were a California resident. I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
President Biden and congressional leadership taking pause to honor the life of the late Senator Bob Dole. The former presidential candidate and World War II hero will lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda. His former colleagues are reflecting on his life of service. Madeline Rivera has reaction from Washington.
A solemn ceremony at the Capitol.
Great is thy faithfulness.
As the casket of the late Republican Senator Bob Dole was brought to the Rotunda, where his family, former colleagues, and President Biden paid their final tribute.
Bob belongs here. He too was a giant of our history, and that's not hyperbole.
He died on Sunday at 98 after a battle with stage 4 lung cancer. Now he has the honor of lying in state, marking a legacy that included 36 years of service in Congress, where he was known to cross the aisle.
Bob never hesitated to work with Democrats to get things done.
The late Kansas senator ran for the Republican presidential nomination 3 times. He won it once in 1996, but lost when President Bill Clinton was elected to a second term. He also received 2 Purple Hearts for serving in World War II, where he was hurt trying to help a fellow soldier. The injury left him unable to use his right hand and pushed him to help the disabled.
The task ahead is monumental, he said, but I'm confident that there are forces in America ready and willing to meet the challenge. Bob Dole himself was certainly proof of that.
After today's ceremony, a funeral will be held Friday at the National Cathedral here in D.C. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Still ahead tonight, a teacher who has a passion for music is using his violin to get students to follow their own passions and dreams.
The whole thing is to make them happy, to make sure that they enjoy their life of education.
More on why this orchestra teacher plays his violin as soon as the final bell of the day rings.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. Temperatures today a little bit better than they were yesterday. We're going to continue that warming trend through your Friday, but those clouds will really start to thicken up as a storm system approaches. We're going to be in the warm sector of the system, which means that any precipitation that we see on Saturday will be likely rain, and then after the system moves out, we're going to have a stretch of just beautiful weather, and that's going to start on Sunday, but it may be a tad cool. Tomorrow, though, as high pressure is still in control of our weather, it's not going to be quite as cold as it was today, but notice the green that's showing up down to our south. That will be encroaching our area by Saturday, and there will be some periods of heavy rain as well. So if you have any shopping that you have to do, you definitely want to do it tomorrow before the heavy rain gets here on Saturday, unless you just want to wait until Sunday. Tomorrow, it's starting off a little bit chilly, 39 degrees, 45 degrees by noon, and then we drop down to around 41 degrees with mostly cloudy conditions at around 5 o'clock in the evening. So the system will be approaching. This is what the situation will be on Friday night. This leading edge of warmer air will start to lift to our area. In fact, I think temperatures will start to climb up for the next 24 hours and stay up as this warmer and more humid air moves in. And then by Saturday, that low pressure system will be moving into Canada. We're still going to be on the warm side of it, and we are going to see showers likely, but then as the system moves east, colder air will be moving in, and we are expecting a lot cooler conditions for your Sunday. So let's take a look at our future radar, where we're finding a few scattered or spotty showers and showers and maybe a mix of flurries on Friday. And then as we head into the rest of Friday, it looks like it's pretty quiet. But then by 6 o'clock in the evening, a few showers will be moving in, and then heavier rain will follow on Saturday. It looks like periods of heavy rain during the day, and then this whole system will be moving out by Saturday night. But colder air will be moving in, so if there's any moisture left over, that will be switching over to snow. So here's a look at your forecast. Temperatures tonight diving down to around 30 degrees in Elmira, 32 in Corning. Highs tomorrow a lot better than today. 46 in Corning, 47 in Elmira, 46 in Watkins Glen, and around 44 degrees in Mansfield. We are expecting even warmer conditions on Saturday with a high around 63 degrees. But again, there will be some periods of heavy rain, and as that cold front approaches, it will kick up those winds. So it's going to be pretty gusty on Saturday, still breezy on Sunday, but a lot cooler with a high around 45 degrees. But then those temperatures will start to rebound by early next week.
The next time you sit down for a meal, you may want to consider what you do with your leftovers. Ashley Strohmeyer has more on how your food waste is harming the planet and what you can do to save it.
About 40% of the entire U.S. food supply goes to waste every year, with the leftovers winding up in landfills to rot. And as food products decay, they release harmful methane gas, which breaks down the ozone layer, contributing to climate change. But with food waste making up 15% of our country's methane gas emissions, environmentalists say a possible solution could be mandatory food recycling laws.
It's really easy. I mean, all you're changing is where you're throwing things. It's just another bin.
Starting next year, cities across California are supposed to establish programs where residents will be required to throw food scraps into special bins instead of the trash. Those bins will then be taken away to facilities for composting, limiting greenhouse gas emissions.
It means that we just don't bury and forget about it. We're actually taking responsibility and not leaving it for a next generation to do something.
The compost can then be added to soil, helping provide nutrients for new crops to grow.
I think this is a good way we can really just tell the story of food and the fact that we really need to do what's called closing the loop. It's really, you know, the food comes from the land and we really should be returning that back to the land.
California isn't alone. Vermont has a universal recycling law banning food scraps from landfills. And starting January 1st, New York State will require businesses making 2 tons of food waste per week or more to recycle it. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
An orchestra teacher who has a passion for music is using his violin to get students to follow their own passions and dreams. Ty Brennan has more.
And we walk down the hall. I'm walking. It's time to go.
Orchestra teacher Orlando Moss keeps a close eye on the clock. As soon as the last bell rings, it's showtime. Serenading parents, teachers, and students at the pickup line at Coyote Hills Elementary in Peoria with his violin.
The whole thing is to make them happy, to make sure that they enjoy their life of education.
From the classics to fiddling, you can find Mr. Moss outside the school every day. The whole thing started by chance when he needed to practice a new piece for his other job, which is playing for the local symphony.
So I went outside and just started working on my scales and things, and pretty soon I said, well, why don't I learn how to play fiddle? And I did. So this is my 5th year, and I've been playing every day for 5 years.
Music is clearly his passion, and that's what Mr. Moss hopes he instills in his students to follow their own dreams in life.
My life is to make sure children understand their purpose, and their purpose is to learn, to develop, to improve, and to prepare, to be prepared, and I do that each and every day.
Teaching life lessons one note at a time.
The head of Instagram answering questions from senators Wednesday about the impact the social media site is having on teenagers. Many are demanding the company make drastic changes. Madeline Rivera reports.
Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri is defending his company's practices and policies after coming under fire over its alleged harm to young users. Mosseri deflecting blame.
But the reality is that keeping people safe is not just about any one company. An external survey just last month suggested that more teens are using TikTok and YouTube than Instagram.
It's his first appearance before Congress, and it comes after internal documents leaked by Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen earlier this year showed the site's parent company Meta, formerly known as Facebook, knew the platform triggered body image and mental health issues in some teenage girls. Lawmakers demanding to know more about the app's design.
There is such a frustration that you turn a blind eye toward taking responsibility and accepting accountability.
One day before the hearing, Instagram announced new safety measures that includes reminders for users to take breaks after scrolling for a certain amount of time and parental controls to be launched in March, among other steps.
We're also using technology to understand if people are above or below the age of 18 so that we can create a more age-appropriate version of Instagram for them.
Some say the actions are not enough.
These changes fall way short of what we need.
Congress says it's working on bipartisan legislation to better keep children safe online, regulations that Instagram says it's supporting too. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Google is warning the public about a massive Russian hack that has infected more than 1 million devices. The company warning users the hackers can steal personal data and details, as well as use your machine to mine cryptocurrency. Google is taking action, disrupting the operation and suing 2 Russians who are allegedly behind it. Still, Google says the hackers are already finding new ways to keep going. Americans are turning to online apps and websites to earn cash. According to the Pew Research Center, 16% have earned money doing household chores and running errands for other people. Others have made money giving rides, delivering groceries, and cleaning homes. 30% of people under 30 were most likely to do these jobs, compared to just 18% of people between the ages of 30 and 49. Every home holiday light display is different, but one Southern California man is making sure his is entirely original by hand-making his own light decorations. Gina Silva has the story.
This is amazing!
It's the brightest, most festive house on the block in this Westchester neighborhood.
I'm in awe. Like, you even see the shooting star goes all the way around. They put a lot of effort into it.
These are handmade, animated neon Christmas decorations, some as tall as 6 feet.
I like the Grinch.
I like the star. The man behind all this Christmas cheer is John Vanderjack. He's been lighting up the neighborhood for the last 14 years.
My favorite piece would have to be probably the juggling elf. That was the most difficult to put together.
Every year, John adds a new neon decoration. His wife, Tina, loves her husband's Christmas spirit.
It brings a lot of joy to everybody.
For the next-door neighbors, competing with this elaborate display is just too much. So they came up with a clever idea that John then executed. Check out their sign.
You don't have to work real hard to make your house be a wonder.
Ditto.
Yeah, exactly.
We planned our walk so that we would walk past it.
But this one's been here for a while, the same, and it's always worth seeing.
And that's what it's all about. John plans on continuing this tradition for many years to come.
I just want everybody to have a great Christmas, a great holiday, enjoy the lights that people put up because I know how much work goes into it, and just enjoy the season.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. The oldest living Tuskegee Airman celebrates his birthday. Retired Brigadier General Charles McGee turned 102. He visited Joint Base San Antonio in Texas a day earlier. The 99th Flying Training Squadron trains at the base. The squadron was originally called the 99th Pursuit Squadron and was the first African-American fighting squadron. General McGee was happy to be there.
Another blessing in my life, certainly, to be here to celebrate with you.
The Tuskegee Airmen were the first African-American military pilots in the U.S. Their name comes from the fact that they were educated at Tuskegee Institute, now known as Tuskegee University.